found, the smallest part found inside the cell, which is the organelle. And then the smallest unit of structural and function found inside your body, the building unit, which is the cell. Group of cells ولا لازم نقول ايه؟ Group of similar cells that work together to carry out a specific function. This is called a tissue. Group of tissues give us organ. Group of organs that work together to carry out a specific function. Organ system. Different organ systems give us the body of the living organism. طيب قبل ما ندخل كده على part جديد, let's ask some questions أو let's كده remember إحنا اتكلمنا عن إيه. At the beginning we took the characteristics of living organism. For example, to be a living organism, you must carry out 7 life processes. And don't forget 7. يعني ممكن نقول مثلا if I can carry out 6, no. Top 5, no. You must carry out the 7 life processes, the 7 characteristics. The first life process, it was the movement. Okay, let me ask Jana. Jana, can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
Okay, Jana, if I ask you what is the meaning of movement? Do you know?
Yes, it is an action by an organism causing a change of position or place.
Exactly, it's an action of organisms cause a change in position. Bravo, thank you so much. Okay, طيب, the second life process, it was respiration. Heba, can you hear me, Heba? Okay, طيب ممكن نسأل ملك. Malik, do you know what is the meaning of respiration? طب عمر? I will repeat again. Respiration is a chemical process happens inside your body by which your body releases the energy out of breaking down the glucose. It's a process happens inside the cell in a special organelle in the cell. نتكلم عنه دلوقتي. And this process release energy out of breaking down the food that you eat. It's the very, very important process, and all the time the student confuse the respiration with the breathing. Breathing is the process of inhaling and exhaling gases, taking in or breathing in and breathing out gases. This is breathing, while respiration is a process happens inside the cell by which your body releases the energy. The energy you need it in order to make all the activities. All the activities that you can carry out need energy, and the energy you get it through the respiration process. Okay. After the respiration, we took growth, and the growth here is a permanent increase in size or increase in the number of cells. And the increase here is permanent. After the growth, we have reproduction, making more of the same kind, making more of the same members in the same species. After the respiration, we took sensitivity, detect and respond to all the stimuli around us, all the changes around us. And then we have excretion to get rid of all the metabolic wastes, all the waste that your body get it out, you must excrete it. And nutrition is taking in organic material for growth and repair and also for development. خلاص, now عرفنا ان احنا the difference between living organisms and non-living organisms. طب, to be a living organism, you carried out the 7 life processes. So what is the level of organization? In the level of organization, we start from the smallest part to the biggest part. Organelle, small structure found in the cell. The cell is the smallest unit of structure and function. Group of similar cells working together to perform a specific job give us a tissue, group of tissues working together to perform a function give us organ like heart, for example. Different organs work together, give us an organ system. Different organ system give us organism. Okay, let's complete. يلا بينا. طبعا you're in grade 9 اكيد انت عارف ان انا once I talk about a living organism I'm talking about any living organism, plant, animal, human, generally any living organism. يلا بينا. Let's talk about the cell, the basic lesson in biology, cell. Okay. The structure and the organization of cell. The cell, which is the smallest building unit of the body of any living organism, whatever this living organism is, a plant or animal. The basic unit here is the cell. As you can see here, this is the shape of the animal cell, and here is the shape of the plant cell. Not all the animal cells and not all the plant cells. Here, this shape here, it's the liver cell, for example, and here is the Palisade Mesophyll cell. It's a type of plant cell, and here is a type of animal cell. It doesn't mean that all the plant cells and the animal cells have this shape. لا, أخذنا بس shape like the typical one. This is the typical animal cell, and this is the typical plant cell. This cell is the liver cell, by the way, and this one here is the Palisade Mesophyll cell, Palisade cell. Okay. You took this part before many times, the cell and the structure of the cell, sorry, the cell and the structure of the cell. Okay. For the animal cell and the plant cell, both have similar structures, and the plant cell, the animal cell and the plant cell both have similar structures, and the plant cell has extra organelle found only in the plant cell. The structures, sorry guys, the structure that found in both animal cell and plant cell are the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, mitochondria, and nucleus. So again, cell membrane, cytoplasm, mitochondria, and nucleus. The three organelles that you can find extra in the plant cell are cell wall, the large vacuole, and the chloroplast. So the organelles again, in the animal cell, cell membrane, you can find in both cell membrane, cytoplasm, mitochondria, and nucleus. While in the plant cell, you can find three extra organelles: cell wall, large vacuole, and the chloroplast. And by the way, هنلاقي إن في some plant cells do not have chloroplast. طيب. Let's talk about the function of each part of the cell. Okay. The first part that we are going to talk about is the cell wall. You're gonna find the cell wall in the plant cell only. The cell wall is the outer part of the cell. It's made up of a substance called cellulose. Mainly the plant cell, after it carries out the photosynthesis process, the plant cells start to produce glucose. It starts to use this glucose in many ways. One of these ways is to rearrange the glucose in a specific way to build something or a material called cellulose, and use the cellulose here in order to make the cell wall of the cell. So, cell wall, you're gonna find it, number one, in the plant cell only. It's made up of cellulose, and cellulose made up of glucose. What is the function of this plant cell wall? Its function is to support the cell, protect it, and give it a shape. Support the cell, protect it, and give it a shape. And also a new information that I'm going to talk about it this year, that the cell wall of the cell is a fully permeable membrane. It allows all the substance to enter through it. Allow any molecules, any substance to enter through it. Again, the cell wall support, it is the outer membrane in the plant cell only. You will not find in the animal cell. Its function is to support the cell, protect it, give it a shape. It's a fully permeable membrane. It allows all the molecules, all the substances to enter through it. Made of cellulose, and the cellulose made of glucose. All plant cells have cell wall. The second membrane that you are going to find in the animal cell and in the plant cell, it is the cell membrane. The cell membrane here, this one here, its function, the function of the cell membrane, is to control what molecules enter or leave the cell, getting inside or outside the cell. The cell membrane is partially permeable membrane. The cell wall, it allows all the molecules to enter. طب the cell membrane, لا, هنا the cell membrane, it will choose which molecules enter and which molecules leave selectively, or you can say that it's partially permeable membrane. It allows some substance to enter and some substances to leave the cell. So from the outside of the plant cell, we have a cell wall made of cellulose for support and also for protection. In both plant and animal cells, we have a cell membrane, and the cell membrane here, partially permeable membrane to control what molecules, what substances enter or leave the cell. The third part is the cytoplasm. It's a jelly-like substance that fills the space of the cell, and it is the place where the organelles found. And don't forget the organelle, it is the smallest structure found inside the cell. Here, the cytoplasm, its function is to have all the organelles inside it, and it is the place where all the chemical reactions that the cell carry out happen inside. The nucleus, the most important organelle found inside the cell. The nucleus, you can find it in both animal cell and plant cell. And by the way, not all the animal cells have nucleus. Today, inshallah, هنعرف cell, animal cell, and it doesn't have a nucleus. The nucleus found in both plant cell and animal cell, it contains the DNA, the genetic information, and it controls all the chemical reactions that the cell carry out. It controls the cell, and it contains the DNA of the cell. So again, cell wall in the plant cell for protection, cell wall in the plant cell for protection, cell membrane in both plant cell and animal cell, partially permeable membrane to control what goes in and out of the cell, cytoplasm, where chemical reactions happen, and the nucleus, where DNA present, and also to control the cell. the mitochondria. Here, this small organelle, its name is the mitochondria. Okay, guys, just a second. Sorry. Okay. So again, I'm sorry. So again, the plant cell, from the outside, we have a cell wall. In both plant and animal cells, we have the second membrane, the cell membrane, partially permeable membrane, while the cell wall is fully permeable membrane, allow all the molecules to enter. Cytoplasm, gel-like substance where chemical reactions happen. Nucleus to control the cell and where DNA is found. The mitochondria here. The mitochondria, you're gonna find it in both plant cell and the animal cell. And it is the site where respiration takes place. تعالوا نفتكر respiration. I said one of the life processes that all living organisms carry out is respiration, a chemical process by which the body of the organism releases energy out of burning glucose. طيب, البروسيس دي, it happens where? It happens inside the mitochondria of the cell. The respiration happens inside the mitochondria of the cell. So mitochondria is the site of respiration and releasing energy. لو انتوا فاكرين, I said that both plant cell and animal cell have similar characters or similar structures, and 3 extra structures, you're gonna find it in the plant cell. These 3 extra structures, they were the plant cell wall, the large vacuole, and the chloroplast. The chloroplast, as you can see here, this green parts. These green parts, its color is green because it contains a green pigment called the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is a green substance found inside the chloroplast. Its function is to absorb the sunlight energy so the plant can carry out the photosynthesis process. Of course, you're gonna find it only in the plant cell. Only plant cells can carry out photosynthesis process. Not all the plant cells, by the way. Once you can find the chloroplast, it means that this cell can carry out photosynthesis because this cell contains chlorophyll, which absorb the sunlight energy to make photosynthesis process. The last organelle that found in the plant cell is the large vacuole. Miss, do we have vacuoles in the animal cells? We can find vacuoles in the animal cell, but small vacuoles, not permanent, while the large vacuole in the plant cell is permanent vacuole found all the time, while here, small vacuoles for storing food. It appears sometimes, not all the time. The large vacuole here, it stores the water for the plant. It has a function in supporting the plant. I all the time said that this vacuole is like a bag. Once you put lots of books inside this bag, the bag will be supported. Also here, the large vacuole. Once the cell stores lots of water inside the large vacuole, the cell will be supported, the cell will be firm. So it provides extra support. Here, this large vacuole, it provides extra support for the cell. So again, don't forget, these small parts are the organelle. The organelles found inside the cell, the basic and the smallest unit of structural and functions. This unit, you're gonna find many organelles inside it. Some of the organelles are common between plant cell and animal cell, like for example, cell membrane, mitochondria, cytoplasm, and nucleus. while 3 extra organelles, you're gonna find it in the plant cell, which are the plant cell wall, the large vacuole, and the chloroplast. You need to know طبعا the name of the structure and the function of each part. الquestion بيجي في year 7, year 8, and year 9 we ask about the structure and the function. بيجي في paper 1, في paper 3, sometimes بيجي question or 2 in paper 6 asking about the structure and the function. طيب احنا اتفقنا ان this is the shape of the typical animal cell and the typical plant cell. This is the liver cell and this is the Palisade Mesophyll cell. يعني معنى كده ان في many cells inside the body. طبعا the cell start to change a little bit its shape, its structure in order to carry out a specific function. And this what happens to the cells inside the body of the living organism and also the cells of the plant. The cell undergoes some differentiation in order to carry out its new job or its a new function. Let's look at some specialized or modified cells. Specialized or modified cell, the cell undergo specialization or changes in order to carry out specific function. Okay? يلا بينا. Okay. As I said, specialized cells are those which have developed certain characteristics in order to perform a particular function. We have many specialized cells. According to the place of the cell and the function of the cell, you're gonna find a different cell with a different shape and different function. But we have to study some of these cells. We can study all the cells and study some of these cells, like a red blood cell, white blood cell, muscle cell, nerve cell, ciliated cell, egg cell, and sperm cell. طبعا دلوقتي I will talk يعني about these cells كده سريعا. بس in each lesson في lessons بقى اللي احنا هنبدأ ناخدها with each chapter هنلاقي ان كل سيل من دول بقت موجودة في lesson اللي احنا بناخده. For example, we will study you will study in year 9 the respiratory system. In the respiratory system, we are going to talk about the ciliated cells. That we are going to study the circulatory system. In the circulatory system, we are going to talk about the red blood cells and the white blood cells. In the nervous system, we are going to talk about the nerve cells. طبعا أكتر من كده. يلا, let's start talking about the red blood cell. From its name, red blood cell, you're gonna find it in your blood. What is the function of this cell طبعا? And what is so special about this cell? What is so special about this cell is its shape. As you can see here, it's not like the normal shape of any cell. It's like a little bit disc shape, or in the biology, we said that it has a biconcaved shape. The word concave means that it has like this curve shape from both sides. That's why it's biconcaved shape. Its color is red, as you can see, because it contains a substance called hemoglobin. It has hemoglobin inside. Its shape is like the disc, like the donut a little bit. It's biconcave shape. It has hemoglobin inside it. Not all the cells have hemoglobin. Only the red blood cell, it has hemoglobin inside it. What also special about the cell, that it doesn't have nucleus. But Messi said that in the animal cell, it has nucleus, but not all, I said not all the animal cells. As the red blood cell, it doesn't have nucleus. And also I said that the chloroplast found in the plant cell, but not all the plant cells have chloroplast. طبعا مع كل ما نعيدها ويعني تذاكرها أكتر هتبدأ تثبت في دماغك. So here, red blood cell. The red blood cell, as you can see, is the shape of the cell, biconcaved, disc shape. It doesn't have nucleus inside it, and it contains hemoglobin. But what is the function of this cell? Its function is to transport oxygen all around your body. The function of this cell is to transport oxygen all around your body. The red blood cell transports oxygen all around your body. Right, okay. Why? It has hemoglobin. Why? It doesn't have nucleus. Why? Its shape is like biconcave. Each of these questions have answer, and the answer for each question we're going to answer it now. Number one, it has hemoglobin because it's a kind of protein, red protein, and this protein combines with the oxygen. It combines with the oxygen to form something called oxyhemoglobin, and then it carries the oxygen to transport it to all body cells. Again, the function of the red blood cell is to transport oxygen all around your body. How can it transport oxygen? Number one, it has hemoglobin inside. It's a red protein. Its function is to combine with the oxygen to transport it to all body cells or to all body parts. Once the hemoglobin combines with the oxygen, it forms something called oxyhemoglobin, and the oxyhemoglobin leaves the oxygen in the places where the oxygen is needed. Number two, I said the adaptation, the second adaptation, the changes that the cell has, it doesn't have nucleus. Why it doesn't have nucleus? As you can see here, the nucleus is like, يعني in the picture, it's like a big organelle found inside the cell. It takes a large space from the cell. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the nucleus from the red blood cell in order to leave extra space for the hemoglobin. This cell, it needs to have lots of hemoglobin in order to carry more oxygen to transport it. So the red blood cell, it doesn't have nucleus in order to carry more hemoglobin inside the cell. So number one, it has hemoglobin to combine with oxygen to transport it. Number two, it doesn't have nucleus to provide extra space for the hemoglobin. I need more hemoglobin to be here to carry more oxygen. So to provide more hemoglobin, it has this cell here, it has no nucleus. But what about its shape? Why the shape of the cell is a biconcave or like a disc, donuts shape? To increase the surface area to carry more oxygen. I want the surface area of the cell to be very large in order to carry more oxygen to transport it to the cells. That's why the red blood cell, it has a biconcave shape to have a large surface area to carry more oxygen to the cells. Okay, so the first specialized cells, the first modified cell, يعني إيه specialized cell undergoes differentiation in order to carry out a specific function. And the specific function of the red blood cell is to carry and transport oxygen. How can it carry out the oxygen? How can it transport the oxygen? By having hemoglobin inside it to combine with oxygen, a large surface area, and what gives it the large surface area is the biconcave shape. There is no nucleus inside it in order to provide extra space for the hemoglobin, to contain more hemoglobin to combine with oxygen. Okay? Is it easy? Guys, مفيش حد بيسأل أي سؤال. Do you have any questions?
Miss.
Yes. أخيرا تفضلي.
There's a lot of types of hemoglobin, right?
Yes.
So, do we have to study most of them, right? Or only we have the topic?
No,
like-
no, I need you to know that inside the red blood cell there is hemoglobin. Okay, later on هنعرف what kind or what kind of mineral include in the composition of the hemoglobin. هو ده بس اللي عليكي.
Okay,
Nothing
okay.
more. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay. So, again, inside the red blood cell, you're gonna find hemoglobin to transport the oxygen. This is the first specialized cells. Red blood cells, thank you, Him. The red blood cell found inside your blood. Okay. The second cell found inside your blood, طبعا cells found inside your blood, the white blood cells, your immune system, your white blood cells. These cells are very, very important in order to attack all the microbes inside your body. We're having different types of white blood cells, but we need to know two types of the white blood cells. Again, the white blood cells, they are responsible for attacking all the microbes that enter your body. They are part of your immune system. طبعا هنستدي immune system later on. مش بديتيلز أكتر بس هناخد عنه information أكتر. طيب, how the white blood cells work? They work by two ways. I want you to study only two ways. The first way, these two specific parts of the immune system, or these two specific parts of the white blood cells, phagocytes and lymphocytes. We're having two types, the phagocytes and the lymphocytes. The phagocytes, they work by engulfing the microbe or engulfing the pathogens. هنعرف pathogens is like microbes. هنعرف يعني إيه pathogens later on. They are engulfing the pathogens. They are engulfing the microbes like bacteria and germs. What is the meaning of engulf? Engulf, it is similar to eat the microbe. The white blood cell start to move toward the microbe, and then it takes the microbe inside it and break it down, produce enzymes in order to break it and digest it inside. Again, the first type of white blood cells, the white blood cells responsible for breaking down and attacking the microbe. They are part of the immune system. They work by two parts or two types, the phagocytosis and the lymphocytosis. The phagocytes, they engulf the microbe. They take the microbe inside it and break it down, produce enzymes in order to break it down. And the second type is the lymphocyte. The lymphocyte start to produce antibodies. يعني إيه بقى grade 9? Okay. Each microbe has its own antigen. It's a specific part found on the microbe, found on the bacteria, found on the virus, or whatever. The lymphocyte, it has to produce something called antibodies. The antibodies must fit the antigen and break it down. It's something like, if you know, like the antivirus in the computer, in the laptop, it's something, identify the virus or identify the bacteria, and specifically for this type of bacteria, specifically for this type of virus, and break it down. Here also the lymphocyte work by this way. The lymphocyte, for each specific bacteria, each bacteria and each virus, it has its own antigen. So for the lymphocyte, it has to produce a specific antibodies for this antigen in order to break it down into smaller pieces. Again, lymphocyte and the phagocyte. The phagocytes engulf the microbe, take it inside it, digest it, break it down. While here, the lymphocyte, it produces antibodies to the specific antigen on the microbe to clump with the microbe and then break it down. As you can see, the the difference here between the lymphocyte and the phagocyte, it has like looped nucleus. This is nucleus here is like looped nucleus, while here it has like a circular and big nucleus here, the lymphocyte. Both, they have the function of breaking down the microbes, either by engulfing like the phagocyte or producing antibodies for the specific antigen. Okay. Third type of specialized cell is the muscle cell. From its name, you're gonna find it in your muscles. You took the muscles before, and your muscles, the muscles have the ability to contract and relax. How can they contract and relax? Because the muscle cells, they have a specific protein-like fibers. They give it the ability to contract and relax. So the muscle cells, their function is to contract and relax. How can they contract and relax? By having a specific fibers allow them to contract and relax. Right. Once you exercise all the time, you need energy. Your muscles need energy. Now, we took before that the site where the energy produced is the mitochondria, and the energy produced by a process called the respiration. So once you exercise, you need more energy. Your muscles need more energy. That's why your muscles have lots of mitochondria inside it, needed for making energy, for the respiration process to happen inside them. So until now, we took 3 cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, muscle cells. The red to transport oxygen by having hemoglobin and non-nucleus and biconcave shape. White blood cells to attack microbes, part of your immune system, by also engulfing the microbe or by producing antibodies, specific antibodies for the specific microbe. Number 3, the muscle cell. They contract and relax to allow the movement. They have fibers to contract, and also the muscle cells, they have lots of mitochondria in order to make the respiration process and produce lots of energy. The 4th specialized cell, it is your nerve cells. You're having many nerve cells inside your body. And the function of the nerve cell is to carry and transport all the electrical signals inside your body. The function of the nerve cell is to transmit the nerve impulses or the electrical signals around your body. How can they carry out this job? As you can see here, guys, this is not like a normal cell. Number 1, it's very thin, it's long, it has something like a body cell here, and here, this part, its name is axon here. So it has axon and a body cell, not like the normal or the typical liver cell. You can see these branches, which are the dendrites. Why does it have all these things? Number 1, the nerve cell, it has to carry the electrical signals as fast as it can. To carry out these signals, it has these connections in order to connect to many other cells to carry the signals very fast. This is the body cell, which contains the nucleus, and this is the axon. And later on, we will talk about the nerve cell in details. So the nerve cell, its function is to transmit or to transport the electrical signals all around your body. The 5th cell that we have here is the ciliated cell. This cell is very important. This cell, you're gonna find it along your respiratory system, in the trachea, in the bronchi, and its function is to remove the mucus. But this cell, it works with another cell called the goblet cell. Goblet cell and ciliated cell both work together. in order to make your respiratory system clean. How can they work together? Number one, the goblet cell, they produce mucus all the time. This sticky substance that found along your respiratory system. The goblet cell produce mucus, and the ciliated cell, it has these tiny hair, these tiny parts, they called cilia. The cilia responsible for removing the mucus. Again, the goblet cell produce mucus. This mucus, in this mucus, all the dust and microbes stick, and it is the time to remove this mucus away. So the cilia will beat means move, in order to remove this sticky substance, to remove this mucus. So by order, goblet cell produce mucus, all the dust and microbes stick to the mucus, and then it is the time for the cilia to beat to remove all this mucus. The cilia beats to remove the mucus which contain trapped dust and microbes. The last two animal cells, the sperm cell and the egg cell. Guys, I'm explaining fast as you took these cells before, right? ولا في حد ما أخدش these cells قبل كده؟ حد رد عليا؟ حدش بيرد؟
لا قبل كده يا مس.
Okay. طب الحمد لله. Thank you. So the sperm cell and the egg cell, both are the sex cells. The sperm is the sex cell of the male, and the egg cell is the sex cell in the female organism. As you can see here, the sperm cell, it has the function of penetrating the egg cell for fertilization. How can it carry out this process? By having, it has a head, a middle piece, and the tail. In the head, you're gonna find a part here called acrosome, the nucleus, and the nucleus here, it has half of the genetic information, not a complete DNA. For the human being, for example, all the somatic cells, all the cells contain 46 chromosomes. 46 here in our body. But in the sperm cell and the egg cell, each sperm and each egg has 23 chromosomes only, half of the genetic information. Why? So once 23 from the sperm cell join with 23 of the egg cell, they form a baby with a complete DNA, 46 chromosomes. So the sperm cell, it has acrosome in the head. This acrosome produces specific enzymes, has the ability to digest the membrane of the egg cell. It has a nucleus in the head with 23 chromosomes here in case of the human beings, or you can say it's half of the genetic information in any organism. Half of the genetic information, that's why the scientists name it haploid. Half, start with letter H, so half, haploid, sound H, so haploid. Haploid means it contains 23 chromosomes. The middle piece here, it has lots of mitochondria inside it. And again, the mitochondria is the site of respiration and releasing energy. The last part is the tail. And the tail, in order to swim and fertilize the egg cell. The sperm cell again, it has a head with an acrosome and a haploid nucleus, a middle piece with lots of mitochondria, and the mitochondria here in order to produce lots of energy through the respiration process. A tail in order to swim to fertilize the egg cell. Okay. What about the egg cell? The egg cell is one of the biggest cells inside the body. It has lots of cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm here contain the cytoplasm contains nutrients for the early embryo. هناخد later on إن شاء الله that inside the egg cell, once the fertilization takes place, this egg and sperm will together will divide to give a zygote then an embryo. طيب لحد ما البروسيس دي تكمل, how the embryo get the nutrients, it gets the nutrients through the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm here, it contains lots of nutrients inside. Also here, this cell here, it has haploid, it has half of the genetic information. So it can combine with the sperm cell, it can join with the sperm cell to form a baby or a zygote with a complete DNA. So until now, we took the 7 specialized cells, specialized animal cells. Let's study particular quick revision about the 4 specialized plant cells. And the specialized plant cells that we are going to talk about are the Palisade cell, the Palisade Mesophyll cell, the root hair cell, the xylem tissue, and the phloem tissue, the xylem vessel and the phloem vessel. First one, all these cells we are going to study it in more details in the chapter of plants, the structure of the leaf and the plant reproduction. We are going to study all the plants. Here, the plant Palisade mesophyll cell, you're gonna find it in the upper part of the leaves. They have lots of chloroplast, and don't forget it's an organelle, contain green pigment called the chlorophyll, which absorb the sunlight energy in order to make photosynthesis and produce food, glucose for the plant. So the Palisade mesophyll cell responsible for making photosynthesis process and produce, as you know, glucose for the plant, the food for the plant. The second cell is the root hair cell. The root hair cell, it has, as you can see here, a large surface area by having this finger-like projection. Look guys at this cell, there is an organelle missing. We said that the plant cell has 3 extra organelles. The plant cell has 3 extra organelles, extra rather than the animal cell. But here, look, it has a cell wall, a large vacuole, but there is no chloroplast here. The red blood cells, it doesn't have a nucleus. It's an animal cell without a nucleus. And here, the root hair cell, it doesn't have chloroplast. It has a large surface area by having a finger-like projection, and its function is to absorb water and mineral ions from the soil. It doesn't have nucleus, and it has lots of mitochondria inside. The xylem and the phloem both are tissues. The xylem and the phloem both are tissues, not cells. The xylem responsible for transporting water and minerals, while the phloem responsible for transporting like the food for the plant, which is the هنتكلم later on عنه اللي هو الجلوكوز for the plant. هو أنا مش عايزة أطول عليكم، بس أنا I need to يعني أوريكم شوية الquestions اللي موجودة تبقى موجودة إزاي. مش هطول عليكم يعني في الاكسبلانيشن. تعالوا نبص شوية على ممكن الquestions تكون موجودة عندنا إزاي. I picked some questions from both paper 3 and paper 1. فتعالوا كده نبص مع بعض نشوف الquestions تبقى موجودة إزاي في paper 3 و paper 1 على البارت اللي احنا أخدناه. Okay. Here guys هنا بقى paper 3 questions in paper 3. هنبدأ بمين؟ أسامة? Can you hear me? Malak? Because it's very easy question.
Yes.
يلا يا ملك. Can you please answer this question? This question is about the characteristics of living organism. Match. I'm asking you to match this part. يلا بينا.
Sensitivity with the ability to detect and respond to changes in the environment.
Exactly. Let me just okay. What about respiration?
Chemical.
It's a chemical reaction.
Chemical reaction in cells that break down nutrient molecules and release energy.
برافو عليكي. What about excretion?
Removal from organisms of toxic materials and substances in excess of requirement.
برافو عليكي. Thank you so much. What about movement and reproduction?
Movement and action by an organism causing a change of position or place.
Okay. Reproduction?
Yeah, the processes that make more of the same kind of organism.
برافو عليكي. And growth, the last one?
A permanent increase in size.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. مين بقى يجاوب؟ يلا بينا. جانا؟
Yes, miss.
يلا بينا يا جانا.
Okay, letter A will be cell wall.
Exactly.
And B will be nucleus. And
برافو
C is
عليكي.
large vacuole.
مس مي صوت حضرتك مش واضح.
هي ممكن يكون في بس بتتشيك الكونكشن بس يا شباب دقيقتين بالظبط وهتكون معاكم. هي بتتشيك الكونكشن بس.
سوري معلش متأسفة. سوري يا جنى. يلا بينا نكمل. جنى.
Yes, miss.
يلا حبيبي سوري عشان فصل مني. يلا اتفضلي. احنا وصلنا لآخر حاجة C. letter C.
It is large vacuole.
Excellent. large vacuole. طب جنى فاكرة feature A is made of cellulose. What is cellulose made from?
I don't know.
طب okay guys مين فاكر what is cellulose made from?
جلوكوز.
Bravo. Thank you. Glucose. Thank you so much. So cellulose is made of glucose. Okay. Where is Anas? Anas, can you please tell me the function of the root hair cell? Hiba? Okay. The root hair cell. The function of the root hair cell is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. The function of the root hair cell is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. These are some questions from paper 3. And now, guys, I'm going to show you some questions in paper 1. The questions in paper 1 are multiple choices questions. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. As I told you, the questions in paper 1, multiple choices questions. And the first question here, who can answer me, guys? Very easy question. What is not a characteristic of all living organisms? What is not a characteristic? We took 7 characters. So what is not? Is it excretion, photosynthesis, reproduction, or respiration? Who can say it? It's very easy. Which one is not a character?
Photosynthesis?
Exactly. Photosynthesis is not one. It's not one of the characteristics of all living organisms. The 7 one, Mrs. Gren, movement, reproduction, sensitivity, growth, excretion, nutrition, and what else? Reproduction. Okay. The second question. Which plant cells are often green, but animal cells are not? Which structure in plant cells make them green?
Chloroplast.
Exactly, the chloroplast. The chloroplast, as they contain the chlorophyll inside them, they make the plant green. Okay, another question. The diagram shows the structure of a palisade cell. Which features are also found in the liver cell? So the question here is asking you about a feature found in both plant and animal cell. So which are these? Is it 1 and 2, 2 and 5? Which 2 structures? Exactly, 2 and 5. Nucleus and cytoplasm. You're gonna find the nucleus and the cytoplasm in both cells. ناخد كده 2 questions كمان. يلا بينا. Which cell helps to move dust particles out of an organism? Helps to move the dust particles.
Ciliated cell.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Ciliated cell. And the last question here. This diagram shows a plant cell. Which features show that it's a plant cell? What does it have to tell you that it's a plant cell?
It has a cell wall and a vacuole.
Right, it has a cell wall and a vacuole because the root hair cell here, it doesn't have a chloroplast. Okay? Thank you so much for listening, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you يا Miss Mayu. Thank you all of you يا شباب. بفكركم باللينكات اللي موجودة في الشاتنج بوكس عشان تقدروا تجوين الكورس وتخشوا على الواتساب جروب الخاص
Thanks a lot, Miss Mai.
مس مرام
Thanks to you
هتكمل
all.
معانا. وما تنسوش تملوا الفورم يا شباب عشان تاخدوا الديسكاونت. ما تنسوش تملوا الفورم.